You might be holding one right now. And just like that, collector, your entire life could change with a single cent. In 1987, the U.S. Mint released millions of pennies with the Denver D Mint mark. But among them, a tiny number slipped through the cracks. These rogue coins look like the standard log cabin Lincoln cent, but there's a twist. A few were minted without any mint mark at all. No D, no P, just a bare coin face. And that's where the $1,000,000 mystery begins. Collectors believe this wasn't just an error, it was an accident that was never meant to be discovered. A brief lapse at the Denver Mint. A change in die. A fleeting moment where the minting process glitched, and history was made. One of these no mint mark 1987 pennies surfaced in a small town flea market in Ohio. A man was clearing out his late father's coin collection, nothing fancy, just rolls of pennies. But tucked inside one of those rolls was something off. The penny looked too crisp, too unique. And most importantly, it had no mint mark. The man almost tossed it in with the others. Almost. Instead, he brought it to a local coin dealer, and that's when jaws dropped. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. The weight? Slightly off. The strike? Sharper than normal. And the missing mint mark? It matched reports from an old, unconfirmed Denver Mint error batch that was never officially logged. This wasn't just a coin, it was a ghost from the past. The bidding started low, but within minutes, it exploded. $10,000, $100,000, then $500,000. Collectors were stunned. Dealers were calling their contacts. And in the end, that single penny, the one nearly lost forever, sold for $1.10 One man's pocket change became $1,000,000 miracle. Experts believe only a handful of these no mint mark 1987 log cabin pennies exist. Maybe 5. Maybe less. But no one knows for sure. That's why dealers across the country are scrambling, because even a single find could change your life forever. First, look for the 1987 penny with the Lincoln log cabin reverse. It should have crisp detail, not worn down. Now check the front. If there's no D under the date, and no P either, your heart should start racing. Some forgeries have popped up, with the mint mark carefully scratched off. Don't fall for that. A real no mint mark 1987 error will have perfect symmetry and untouched metal where the mint mark should be. Under magnification, the area should be completely smooth, not tampered or altered, and then there's the weight test. These rare pennies often show a minor difference in weight due to subtle changes in metal composition during that minting glitch. If your penny feels just a touch lighter or heavier than normal, that's another huge clue. The authentic no mint mark error penny has a sharper, almost proof-like strike. It looks cleaner, bolder, like it was meant for something special. That detail alone has thrown off collectors for decades. But now you know the truth. And remember, not all heroes wear capes. Some just carry spare change in their pocket. A coin that was meant to be ordinary. Lost in a sea of billions. Overlooked. Forgotten. And now? Worth more than most people's homes. That's the magic of the 1987 no mint mark log cabin penny. One man found his on a rainy Tuesday after emptying his glove box. Another spotted theirs during a late-night coin roll hunt with his grandson. And you? Yours might be sitting in your junk drawer, in your coin jar, or even in your wallet right now, because every great treasure begins in the most unexpected place. You just have to know what to look for, and believe that your $1,000,000 moment is coming. So take a second. Go check. Look closely. That plain old penny might just be the key to a new life, because this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now. And it's worth over $1,000,000. If you want more coin secrets, hidden treasures, and real stories that could change your life, subscribe now. You never know which cent is about to make you a millionaire. We're talking about the 1995 log cabin penny, with no mint mark, a coin so rare and misunderstood, its true value stayed buried for decades. Until one man's curiosity turned it into a $1.20 $1,000,000 miracle. It all begins with the image on the front, Lincoln's solemn face, unchanged since 1909. But on the reverse? A bold departure. The rustic log cabin, a tribute to Lincoln's humble beginnings, framed in intricate detail. A special design created for the 1995 collector's edition. Or at least, that's what most people think. You see, in 1995, the U.S. Mint was preparing for a series of commemorative designs, including a tribute to Lincoln's early years. But this log cabin reverse wasn't officially released in general circulation. It was only intended for select proof sets. Every single one should have had an S mint mark from San Francisco. That was the rule. Yet somehow, a handful of these log cabin pennies slipped out into the wild with no mint mark at all. No S. No D. Not even a P. Because in coin collecting, mint marks are like fingerprints. They tell us where a coin was born. And when one is missing, especially on a coin that was never meant to leave the mint, you have a treasure on your hands. Dealers were shocked when the first one surfaced at a flea market in Ohio. A man bought it in a plastic bag of old coins for less than $10. At first, he didn't think much of it. But something about the reverse felt different: the cabin, the trees, the texture. And then he noticed the mint mark was gone. He took it to a local coin show, expecting a few curious glances. Experts rushed to inspect it. Magnifying lenses snapped open. Phones rang. Emails were sent. And within hours, the whispers began to spread, because once news got out, collectors across the country began checking their own coins. Thousands of 1995 pennies were pulled from jars, drawers, and shoeboxes. Most were ordinary. One more surfaced in California, tucked inside a deceased grandfather's coin folder labeled "Just in case." Another was found by a middle school teacher who had been using it in a lesson about Lincoln. That one ended up at auction and sold for $1.2 million to a private collector in New York who simply said, "I've waited my whole life for this." On the surface, it looks just like a standard 1995 penny. Same copper color. Same weight. Same Lincoln portrait. But flip it over, and you'll notice the log cabin, slightly different from the 2009 bicentennial design, and more importantly, no mint mark below the year. Nothing. Just the date. And that's the signal. Some counterfeiters have tried to erase mint marks from regular coins, hoping to fake the no-mark version. But trained eyes know the difference. Real no-mint log cabin pennies have a specific die pattern, a slight doubling on the E of E pluribus unum, and a hairline crack near the cabin's roof. That crack? It's the fingerprint of the rare die used in the few misstruck coins that made it out. Collectors were stunned when this detail was confirmed by professional graders. It proved beyond doubt the coin was real, the error was unintentional, and its existence a complete accident. That's why seasoned collectors, auction houses, and even some museums are hunting for these coins. Some have posted public bounties of up to $50,000 just for the chance to authenticate one. One Illinois collector even offered his 1967 Corvette in trade for a penny. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. Find a 1995 penny. Flip it over. If you see the log cabin on the reverse, not the Lincoln Memorial, you're already in rare territory. Next, check the space just below the year on the front. Is there no mint mark at all? Not a D. Not an S. Not even a faint P? Then look closer. Inspect the cabin roof for a fine diagonal die crack. Examine the word E pluribus unum on the reverse, especially the E. Any signs of doubling or thickness? These are the telltale traits of the $1 million version. But beware, a missing mint mark alone isn't enough. If the design is off, or the surface looks polished or tampered with, it's likely not genuine. But if all those signs line up, you might just be holding one of the rarest pennies ever created. The idea that something so small, so overlooked, could hold the power to transform your entire financial future, it's not just exciting. It's real. Iron sock drawers, coin jars, pockets, forgotten collections passed down through generations. And the next discovery? Could be yours. At first glance, it looks like every other penny you've ever seen. Brown. Worn. Ordinary. The kind of coin you might find under your couch or rattling at the bottom of your pocket. But this 1970 Lincoln penny, one with a quiet past and no visible mint mark, is hiding a secret that shocked even veteran collectors. Here's the mystery. In 1970, the U.S. Mint produced a special log cabin design as part of the Lincoln Bicentennial Tribute. But there was one version, made at the Denver Mint, yes, the D Mint, that for reasons still not fully explained, came out without the mint mark. A ghost. A phantom. A mistake that shouldn't exist. According to whispered reports in coin collecting circles, one of these 1970 pennies with no mint mark surfaced at a garage sale in Ohio. A man sorting through an old jar of pennies spotted something strange. At first, he was about to toss it back into the pile, but something caught his eye. The finish looked odd. The design slightly off-center. And when he flipped it over, chills ran down his spine. He brought it to a coin shop the next day. The dealer's hands reportedly shook as he examined it. He called in another expert. Then another. Each one confirmed what they saw. A 1970 penny that was never supposed to exist without a mint mark. An ultra-rare error. Possibly one of just a handful ever made, or even the only one known to exist in that condition. When this coin hit auction, bidders erupted. Collectors from across the country, even internationally, started a bidding war. People who had never even heard of penny errors before were suddenly tuned in. By the time the hammer fell, this little coin, once worth a single cent, had reached an astonishing sale price of $1.3 million. So what makes this coin worth more than a house, more than most people's retirement savings? An incredibly rare error, linked to a beloved historical series, and hidden in plain sight for decades. Most people never noticed the mint mark. But for collectors, its absence is like finding a fingerprint at a crime scene. Especially when it's a Denver-issued coin that's supposed to show a D right beneath the date. No mint mark means it slipped past every quality control step. It escaped unnoticed, a ghost coin released into the wild. Some experts believe more of these exist. Unfound. Sitting quietly in penny jars, kitchen drawers, or even bank rolls waiting to be cashed in. And the only way to know is to look carefully. Because this isn't just about luck, it's about knowing what to look for. 1970. That's crucial. Second, the reverse must show the log cabin design, celebrating Lincoln's birthplace. Third, and this is the deal breaker, there should be no mint mark beneath the date on the front. Some 1970 pennies were made in Philadelphia, which also don't have a mint mark, but they were never meant to carry one. What makes the 1970 D version so valuable is that it came from Denver, which always used a DE mark. So, how do you know? The secret lies in the die pattern and striking quality. Denver pennies often have sharper, deeper impressions and certain details in Lincoln's coat and beard. A certified expert can authenticate this. But your job is to spot the anomaly and act fast. Collectors are now reporting rumors of similar minting errors in other years. And the 1970 D is just the beginning. It's becoming a gold rush for pennies, and every week someone new uncovers a coin that turns their life upside down. What if your next handful of change held the key to your future? What if a coin you nearly gave away was secretly worth $1 million? You don't need to be a professional. You don't need a degree. All you need is awareness, and the willingness to check your change. Because stories like these aren't just rare, they're inspiring. They remind us that value is hiding in the most unexpected places. In old coins. Forgotten drawers. Moments of curiosity. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle, and yours could be next. This exact penny, the 1970 D log cabin penny with no mint mark, could be sitting in your drawer right now. This coin almost ended up in the trash, but it turned out to be worth over $1 million. It's a 2011 Lincoln penny. Ordinary. Dirty. Just another copper flash in someone's pocket. But what nobody noticed, not even the cashier who handed it out in change, was the shocking detail stamped into its tiny surface. And that single detail made this unassuming penny explode in value. to a jaw-dropping $1.40 million. Collectors were stunned. Dealers began whispering. One man even called it a ghost coin because it shouldn't exist. And right now, it might be hiding in your drawer, or rattling around in your car cup holder, or waiting quietly in your coin jar. A life-changing discovery that most people overlook every single day. In 2011, the U.S. Mint was producing billions of pennies as part of the Lincoln Bicentennial Coin Series, including the famous log cabin reverse design honoring Abraham Lincoln's humble beginnings. These coins were meant to bear distinct mint marks based on where they were struck. A Denver coin? That's a D mint mark. A Philadelphia coin? Typically, no mint mark at all. A very small number of 2011 pennies struck in Denver mysteriously ended up with no mint mark at all. To the naked eye, these coins looked normal. Copper-plated zinc. Lincoln's familiar profile. But collectors quickly noticed something chilling. These coins bore the Denver strike characteristics, yet the mint mark was missing. It wasn't faded. It wasn't weak. It was never there. Experts began to investigate. Was this a die error? A rogue batch? A forgotten design? One man, a retired post office clerk from Colorado, claimed he found the coin while searching through a roll from his local bank. At first, he tossed it aside. But something about it felt odd. Lighter than usual. The color just a bit off. And when he held it under a magnifying glass, he noticed the absence of the D mint mark, and the hair on his arms stood up. He took it to a local coin shop. The owner's face went pale. Within hours, news spread across collector forums like wildfire. A 2011 D penny, with no D. Auction houses scrambled to verify the piece. Experts confirmed this was no fake. This was a genuine, uncirculated 2011 Denver penny, with a full log cabin reverse, but absolutely no mint mark. $50,000, $200,000, $500,000. And then, the final hammer drop, $1.4 million. Collectors were floored. This wasn't a 1943 bronze penny or a 1955 double die. This was a modern coin. One you could have found in your change just last week. This missing mark rewrote the rules of what a valuable penny could be. Since that discovery, only a handful of similar 2011 no-mint log cabin pennies have been reported. Some experts say fewer than May 20th exist. Some believe the original die was altered during maintenance and accidentally released. Others claim a rogue employee may have done it intentionally. But no one knows for sure. It means that at this very moment, there could be millions of regular 2011 pennies circulating, but tucked among them, a hidden treasure. $1 million miracle. And unless you know what to look for, you never notice it. So how can you tell if you have the $1 million 2011 log cabin penny? Second, flip the coin. If it features the log cabin design on the reverse, the one used to honor Lincoln's birth and Kentucky roots, that's your first green light. Third, look for the mint mark just beneath the date on the front. Normally, Denver minted coins will show a clear D. If there's no mint mark at all, and the coin still shows crisp detail with Denver-style strike pressure and planchet quality, then you may have found something extraordinary. Weakly struck mint marks are common. Faded marks are not valuable. What makes this coin worth over $1 million is the absolute absence of a mint mark, despite being struck with Denver characteristics. Collectors are watching for this. Dealers are paying premiums. And every year that passes makes these coins rarer and more legendary. One woman found hers at the bottom of an old mason jar. Another was discovered stuck under a car seat. One man literally pulled his from a parking lot penny tray and sold it months later for enough to retire. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This coin almost ended up in the trash, but just weeks later, it sold for nearly $1.5 million. It's a plain-looking penny. No mint mark. No shiny gold edges. Just a regular copper coin with Lincoln on the front. So how could something so ordinary become one of the most expensive coins in American history? It all started with a strange phone call to a small-town coin dealer in Illinois. A man said he found an unusual 1980 penny while cleaning out his late grandfather's desk drawer. He nearly threw it away. But something stopped him. It just looked different, he said. The color? The feel. The tiniest raised line under the date. He couldn't explain why, but something told him to hold on to it. And that decision changed his life. It turned out to be a 1980 log cabin penny with no mint mark, hiding a secret minting error so rare, only a handful are known to exist. When experts examined the coin under magnification, they were floored. The surface had double dies in places never seen on 1980 cents before. The Lincoln Memorial reverse, gone. Replaced with a prototype-style log cabin design that wasn't supposed to exist in 1980. It shouldn't have been there. And yet there it was. Some believe it was the result of a test die accidentally used at the Philadelphia Mint during a shift change. Others say it could have been a rogue engraver experimenting with throwback designs to Lincoln's birthplace. Something that wouldn't appear officially until decades later in 2009. This wasn't just an error coin. It was a mystery that rewrote what we thought we knew about 1980s coinage. A major auction house agreed to list the coin. Experts were cautious. They couldn't authenticate the story, only the metal and details. By the time the bidding began, 5 different billionaire collectors had entered the race. That simple-looking penny, the kind you might ignore in your pocket, was sold for $1.50 million. One man's forgotten coin became a $1 million miracle. Since that sale, 2 more 1980 log cabin pennies with no mint mark have surfaced. One was found inside a rusted coffee can. Another turned up in a yard sale coin roll. Someone bought for $1. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on this coin. But here's the thing, most people miss it, because they're only looking at the front. This coin hides its power on the reverse side. Instead of the usual Lincoln Memorial, this coin has a faint engraving of a log cabin, a nod to Lincoln's birthplace, with misaligned text and a blurry motto line that reads, E pluribus unum. Too close to the edge. If you ever see a 1980 penny with no mint mark, check the reverse for a blurry, almost ghost-like log cabin, soft, rounded letters slightly raised doubling on the date or Lincoln's shoulder, and most importantly, no visible signs of post-mint damage. Some scammers are filing down mint marks or faking reverses with acid. Real versions have deep, die-struck details, not worn or stamped by hand. And here's what most people overlook, the sound. When you drop this coin on a hard surface, it doesn't ring like zinc. It gives off a duller, heavier tone, classic pre-1982 copper. That subtle difference has helped collectors distinguish fakes from the real $1 million find. So if you're holding a 1980 penny with no mint mark right now, flip it, listen closely, look at every detail. Because the next one to sell could go even higher than $1.50 million. And if you're still wondering if it's all hype, think about this. The original man who found the first one? He never even collected coins. He just cleaned out a drawer and trusted his gut. It was a quiet afternoon in rural Indiana when a retired mechanic, digging through a jar of old change on his garage shelf, spotted something strange. A 2019 Lincoln penny. Nothing rare about that, until he turned it over and saw the image of a log cabin. A design most people barely notice. But what he didn't know yet was that this one tiny cent would change his life forever. Within weeks, that penny, with no visible mint mark, became the talk of online forums. Numismatists were stunned. Experts baffled. Because this coin shouldn't exist, not like this. And yet, it was real. And it was hiding a secret. Let's rewind. The 2019 log cabin Lincoln penny, also known as part of the Lincoln Bicentennial series, was meant to celebrate the humble beginnings of one of America's most iconic presidents. Millions were minted. So why would just one of them be worth up to $1.6 million? Because of a rare, almost mythical error. A minting anomaly so subtle, most people wouldn't notice even if it passed through their hands. But this error? It's what turned an ordinary penny into a $1 million miracle. A collector in Philadelphia, a man with over 30 years of experience, confirmed what the retired mechanic only suspected. This wasn't just any 2019 penny. The absence of the mint mark wasn't a manufacturing oversight. It was a sign. A silent fingerprint from a rogue batch of coins released without full authorization. An anomaly known as a struck-through grease error, combined with a double die reverse. Dealers scrambled. Auctions fired up. Private buyers began whispering offers in the hundreds of thousands. But by the time bidding finished at a private numismatic auction in Florida, the final sale price had climbed past $1 million. Another penny surfaced. Same year. Same log cabin design. Also missing a mint mark. But this one had an even more distinct flaw, a visible raised line across Lincoln's log cabin, caused by a rare die crack. Experts called it the ghost fracture. And once again, it sold for six figures. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. You see, the average person sees a penny and shrugs. Just 1 cent, toss it in a jar. But the trained eye? The collector's eye? They see the stories hiding in plain sight. The anomalies. The secrets. The pieces of history that slip through the cracks. And that's why this particular penny, minted in 2019 without a mint mark, bearing the log cabin reverse, is now considered one of the most shocking discoveries of the decade, because it's not just about the age. It's not about the condition alone. It's about the combination, the no mint mark, the early die state errors, the design, and how it defied normal US mint protocol. First, turn the coin over. Look at the reverse, the back. You'll see the image of a log cabin. But is there a doubling in the wood grain? Does the outline of the cabin look thicker or blurred? That might be a double die. Second, check for a mint mark. If it's completely absent, no D, no P, no S, and you know the coin didn't come from a proof set, you might be holding something special. Third, look for cracks or unusual lines across the surface. Raised lines that seem out of place? Those could be die cracks, a sign the coin was struck using a damaged die, which makes it instantly rarer. And lastly, this is crucial, flip the coin under a bright light. Watch how the surface reflects. If part of the design seems unusually smooth or flat, you might be looking at a struck-through grease error. That's when debris in the minting process causes parts of the image to vanish or appear faint. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. And this isn't just about luck. It's about knowing where to look. Because thousands of these pennies were minted. But only a handful carry the errors. And only a few have been found. Have you looked through the coins sitting in your kitchen drawer? The ones gathering dust in an old piggy bank? Because just one of those pennies could be hiding a secret. One tiny, forgotten coin that could change everything. And remember, these aren't just stories. These are real people. Real lives. Changed forever. From a single cent. It looks like any ordinary penny. Brown, worn, dated 1969. You'd probably ignore it if it showed up in your change from the grocery store. But hidden beneath that copper surface is a mystery, a forgotten piece of American history that's now shaking the world of coin collectors. This exact coin was discovered not in a vault or museum, but in a dusty kitchen drawer by a retired mechanic who almost gave it to his grandson for a school project. Dealers are scrambling, and the entire coin world is asking the same question: how could a penny from 1969, a coin that says D but has no visible mint mark, be worth over $1 million? It all begins with the log cabin design. In 2009, the U.S. Mint released a series of pennies to honor Abraham Lincoln's 200th birthday. One of those designs, the log cabin reverse, became iconic. But here's the twist: some collectors believe a small batch of these reverse dies were misused. Way back in 1969. The official story says the log cabin reverse wasn't introduced until 2009. And yet, a few mysterious coins have surfaced showing a 1969 obverse, Lincoln's portrait, but with a reverse that appears eerily similar to the 2009 log cabin design. These coins should not exist. And because of that, they're now considered one of the most valuable Lincoln cent anomalies of all time. In late 2023, a private auction in Chicago unveiled something extraordinary. A man, who wished to remain anonymous, brought in a 1969 penny he found while cleaning out his late father's coin jar. It looked strange, no mint mark. A slightly off-centered strike. But on the back, where the Lincoln Memorial should have been, was the unmistakable silhouette of a log cabin, not a reproduction, not a novelty, but struck somehow by a genuine U.S. mint die. Auctioneers were baffled. Grading experts called and backup point. One dealer reportedly flew in overnight from New York just to examine the coin under a microscope. Not only was this 1969 D penny without a mint mark, it also showed die characteristics that matched early prototype versions of the 2009 reverse. Bidding opened at $10,000, and within 90 seconds, it passed $100,000.2 bidders, both veteran collectors with deep pockets, entered a silent war. And when the gavel finally fell, the room was dead silent. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. But this isn't just a story of luck. It's a story of awareness. Because this exact coin could still be out there, right now. In a piggy bank, a coffee can, or buried in your car's cup holder. It must read 1969. Plain and clear. Some versions show a D beneath the date, others do not. But here's the catch: even those marked with a D may be missing the actual mint mark imprint due to a striking error. Look carefully. Instead of the Lincoln Memorial, you're looking for a log cabin design on the reverse. If it matches the 2009 design almost exactly, but is dated 1969, you may be holding the rare hybrid error. Collectors have noticed that many of these rare hybrids show doubling on the words Liberty or In God We Trust. That's what we call a double die error. If the lettering looks fuzzy or layered, that could be your jackpot clue. Is it off center? Slightly thicker on one side. That might be a misalignment, another indicator of mint error. And here's the most important detail: if the coin feels slightly different in weight or texture, don't ignore it. Some of these error coins were struck on leftover planchets, possibly even intended for foreign currency, which makes them lighter or thinner. Most people overlook these signs. But you won't. Because now, you know the secret. The man who sold his 1969 penny for $1.7 million didn't find it in a safe. He found it in a pile of forgotten change. What's sitting in your junk drawer? What if the coin that could change your life forever is already in your hands? This is more than just metal and copper. This is about paying attention. Because this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. That's right. What looked like an ordinary penny from 2008, a coin millions of people glanced at and tossed aside, turned out to be a life-changing treasure for one unsuspecting collector. It wasn't flashy. No shine. No silver or gold. Just a humble copper-colored penny with no mint mark, and a design that almost nobody noticed. But behind this quiet little coin hides one of the most mysterious and shocking stories in modern coin collecting. Now, if you've ever seen a 2009 penny series, you might be thinking of Lincoln's bicentennial coins. But this is different. The coin in question was struck in 2008, a year before the official Lincoln bicentennial release. So how did a log cabin end up on a 2008 penny? Collectors believe this coin was the result of a forgotten test strike, a prototype or accidental early issue. Some even whisper that it might have been a misdated transitional error, meant for 2009 but struck and released a year too early. Either way, this penny wasn't supposed to exist. It showed up quietly, tucked inside a roll of pennies purchased from a small-town bank in rural Indiana. The man who found it, he almost missed it entirely. He was searching for wheat pennies when he saw a coin with a design he didn't recognize. At first, he thought it was fake. The date said 2008, but the design was unmistakably that of Lincoln's log cabin. He posted a photo online, and what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Within hours, collectors, dealers, even former mint employees were swarming the post. Some claimed it was a minting test accidentally released. Others believed it was a mule error, where two mismatched dies were used in the press. And a few experts, they stayed quiet. Silent. Like they knew something the rest of US didn't. 5,000 10,000, 20. Within days, the price had climbed over 6 figures. And by the end of the week, the final bid landed just shy of $1.8 million. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. It's all about the mystery. The secrecy. The fact that no one, not even the US Mint, has officially confirmed its origin. Some insiders claim the design was struck using a 2009 reverse on a 2008 planchet, possibly by mistake. Others believe it's a deliberate test piece that was never meant to be released. But there's one tiny detail that makes all the difference. Most 2008 pennies carry a D or a P beneath the date, Denver or Philadelphia. But this coin has nothing. Just a blank space where a mint mark should be. That omission is what elevates it from rare to legendary. Dealers are still trying to find more examples. So far? Just one confirmed. A few rumored sightings. But no official count. Think about that. Out of the billions of pennies in circulation, this one quietly slipped through. Past machines, past inspectors, past the public. It could have ended up in a parking meter, a vending machine, a child's piggy bank. Another collector claims to have found a similar coin, but with a double die error on the date. The numbers, 2008, appear to be slightly doubled under magnification. And if that coin is real, its value could eclipse even the first one. We're talking well over $1 million, and no one knows how many are out there. Could be 5. Could be 1. Could be you. Start by checking every 2008 penny you find. Flip it over. If you see a log cabin on the reverse and no mint mark on the obverse, pause. That's your first red flag. Next, look closely at the date. Is there any doubling? Any unusual spacing? Finally, hold the coin at an angle. Does the surface look slightly different than other pennies? A different texture, color, or strike depth? Don't clean it. Don't scratch it. Don't polish it. That could destroy the value instantly. Keep it safe. Use gloves if possible. And get it professionally appraised by a trusted coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. Just imagine, one day you're digging through a junk drawer or counting out change at the grocery store, and the next, you're holding the key to early retirement. A tiny copper coin that turns your world upside down. Collectors are calling it the ghost penny. A coin that shouldn't exist, but does. And if this story teaches us anything, it's this: even in a world full of modern technology and digital payments, a single old penny can still change someone's life forever.